Hey folks, welcome back to the channel. Hard to believe that the pre-rut is here. Most of the country is experiencing some great weather going into the week before Halloween. To be honest with you, it's October 27th and I'm standing here in front of the camera in the studio in a warm house, and it's a good thing. Obviously I was able to harvest Atlas this year, if you follow the channel at all. And you'll know that I hung the tag there on Atlas the 25th of September. Great feeling to be done, but if you follow the channel, you'll also know that October 27th is my day. I have had more luck, success, combination of both, however you want to look at that, over the years of my own hunting strategies and also experiences, I should say, and also guiding my clients over the years all over the country. October 27th is my day, and it's kind of a weird feeling. Luckily, this time of the year, I'm able to connect through hunting. A lot of times I'm in the tree stand or on my way to the stand, start my morning routine, working through with my clients. So I'm hunting that, getting that experience right through you guys. That ties into today's video, guys. One, we are in that time of the year where I every year, the passion for this time of the year for me just grows stronger and stronger. My business is built around the entire deer season. But as the weather gets better, more of us start thinking around the country, start tying wrapping our heads around and setting time aside for the pre-rut and the rut. It is a magical, magical time to be in the woods, in the deer woods, guys. The pre-rut triggers a very, very explosive time of the year, but it also triggers, to me, it triggers a time where we start being very, as clients, one of the things I train you to do is to start being very frugal. Start pointing fingers at yourself, start critiquing yourself of what's to come. If you feel that you're not going to have a strong pre-rut or rut experience this year, I really, really encourage you to draw the line, right? There has to be a line in the sand somewhere where you draw that line and you finally get to a point where it's like, I need to reach out and get some help, or to tweak that situation, or there's things that I can do myself, just have to understand a little better and understand the process. Because here's what this video is all wrapped around, guys. Sadly, I don't know what the percentage is, guys, but it's a lot higher than you think. I'm going to say about 75%, 75 or 80% of my clients a year don't get to experience the rut before they become clients of mine. There's a lot of time, right? There's a lot of time that involves, a lot of history, a lot of time in the woods trying to be successful. And a lot of folks are successful. My goal for you guys is, as clients and friends, is to help you be more successful more often, right? To be proficient as hunters. Like I said, guys, sadly, 75-80% of people don't get to experience the rut. Why is that? Because the property's already burnt out before the pre-rut and the rut gets here. It's a very, very in-depth process to try to help folks understand why we shouldn't be hunting on food plots, on top of food plots, in big open oak flats, why we shouldn't be hunting destination food sources on destination food sources. I'm not saying that destination food sources, I've had this email, you're crazy if you don't think that destination food plots aren't powerful. They are, guys, don't get me wrong. They are a huge part of the puzzle. Problem with it is, I don't feel, in the way I teach and I design properties, I don't feel that you should be sitting, you should have all them puzzles, or all the pieces of the puzzle, if you will, in a jar and sitting on top of the lid and hoping that the puzzle somehow puts itself together, right? That's my example. That piece of the puzzle with your food plotting program is a huge piece of the puzzle. But like I've said in the past, guys, and I'll probably say it a million more times on this channel, is if you don't treat your food plots like you treat your bedding areas, or you treat your sanctuary part of your farm, which are your bedding areas, and treat that way, you'll never experience that, because most folks don't treat their food plots like they do their bedding areas. And it's a piece of the puzzle where each one has something different to offer. We got a video coming up here, guys, that'll tie into this. This is why we're doing this chain of events of videos here, because that ties into why we shouldn't be hunting certain areas. One is the bedding areas, right? Today's video, like we're talking, is trying to help folks understand the importance of having this piece of the puzzle, but not ruining that piece of the puzzle, which affects all of the rest of your amenities that you have on the farm. All your other work, all your other time on the farm, all your help, everything can be interrupted. And folks do this not with no intention, but they indirectly ruin their own properties because it's this flashy marketing term on the outdoor channels and all of these big promoted hunting shows across the country where everybody else is hunting on food plots. Why can't I? So in this video, guys, what we're going to talk about is this. We're going to throw the do you believe in food plot hunting or do you not right out the window, right? You know my feeling is on that, but I'm going to explain to you. I'm going to go one step further. I'm going to try over the next course of a few months here, over the next course of a few years, I'm going to really try to help clarify why I don't hunt food plots. It's really easy to just say don't hunt them, right? But because of pressure, the obvious reasons. But what else is there out there? What is the deciding factor that I don't hunt or put clients or friends or family's properties or anybody's properties together? Why I don't recommend that? There's a lot of properties around the country that folks just don't think they have the time to do what Josh can do in Kentucky, or somebody can do in Iowa, or somebody can do in Michigan that's got the right property. There's a lot of this feeling that I just don't have the right property, and it's easier for me just to go to the field and sit on the field, whether that's bow or rifle, and just hope for the best. Well, we're gonna take that a step further here, guys. Guys, the reason I took time to draw this out on the board is this. That is just exactly explains a lot here as far as this video. I took the time to build this on the whiteboard here, just as if I would recommend taking the time to be creative. Over here in the corner, guys, it says this. It says if you're going to hunt a food plot, be creative, right? You have to put some creativity into your food plot hunting strategies. Now, I see a lot of around the country, guys, is I see a lot of folks hunting, whether that's your young kids or your husband and wife team, or you're just accustomed to hunting field edges. I see a lot of potential that doesn't get tapped into, right? But if you're not going to tap into that resource, how can you be successful hunting a food plot? Well, we've studied before, and I went over the topic about shot plots, right? Putting a shot plot in the inside corner of a field, and treating that as not having your blind in the staging area in the timber, but having your blind just outside of the woods, and letting that shot plot be in that transition zone between your bedding and feeding. Having that an area that you can seclude and promote more daylight movement in that area. Top it off with a nice looking branch situation, and then throw a, that's one, like we say, that's the only spot that you pile up a bunch of amenities, put a water hole system in there, and then release them out into a food plot, pass screening, bigger food plot situation than on ag. And that's exactly what we're talking about today, guys. 90% of the properties, or 99% of the field edge or food plot blinds that I see across the country don't have a solid entrance and exit strategy in place. And if those two aren't in place, like I always tell folks, I'd rather see folks put water holes in than I would food plots, because your deer on a water hole are not stagnant. Your deer on a food plot, on a large food plot situation, are stagnant. So, can you hunt a food plot and be successful? Yes, you can, but you have to be creative. So this time of the year, why are we talking about food plots, right? If you know me at all, you know the channel is I don't talk about things out of season. I'm not here to tell you how to plant your food plot right now, because it should have already been planted, right? I'm here to open up some eyes, to start researching when you're in those situations, when you're in that box blind, or you're in that tree stand on the edge of the field this year. Think about, how can I make this better? How can I make this program? How can I move this stand location so I can get into it easier, so I'm not blowing deer when I get in? And more importantly, I can get out of this blind or this tree stand and leave them deer unscathed, untouched on that so important piece of the puzzle, on their food travel, and that, keep them secure out there and not blow them off when I'm getting out of this blind or this stand. That's where this video ties in. Start thinking, start being creative. Let's go to the board here, guys, and I'm going to show you a couple of things here that, just by, what I see a lot of is, if you take this into consideration kind of as like a 40, I see 40s and 80s around the country that are built like this a lot. My goal is for you is to, you'll see in the ledger here, I know a lot of you like to take the screenshots of some stuff I do, but if you take a program like this, guys, and you really put emphasis into, okay, half of my farm is into field and the other half is into a woodlot system, folks just don't feel that they want to penetrate interior of their woodlots for whatever reason that is. They think that by going into the woods, you're going to push deer out, and you can't be successful if you go in there and blow them out. Well, there could be a lot of truth to that, but I also see that the woodlots that folks think that are housing so many deer that are going to transfer from here out into the field and get out there in front of them before dark, I often find, guys, that those woodlots aren't holding the deer like you think they are anyway. Michigan is notorious for this. Wisconsin's notorious for this. For big spruce plantings, spruce and timber plantings, let's say, timber that's been high graded for years, and folks just say, it's full of spruce, and there's a lot of bedding in there, and I'm not going in there, and I'm not trying to try to get behind it, or there's big oaks in there. I don't want to get behind it because I'm blowing deer out. Guys, most of the time we find is when we start going in those areas during the scouting time of the year, them areas aren't holding a lot of deer to begin with. So this diagram here, guys, is this. Let's go over this quick, then we'll wrap this one up. That is the procedure. I'm hoping over time folks really get and understand why I'm so passionate about not hunting or not promoting food plot hunting or hunting on the destination. Here's an example, guys. Like I said, most of this woodlot right here, in most cases, doesn't hold the deer that you think it does. Then what we do is we're sitting out here on the edge. A lot of these are actually on the edge of the timber. So instead of being on the sides, making a layered effect, if you will, like it shows here, that we can transfer deer, doe bedding, some more density here as, adding a layer of switchgrass and pockets and stuff like that fill into your shot plots, transferring the deer out to a nice, green food plot, having grains. So you got greens as in a food plot, brassicas in the fall, and grains that we leave standing, which is like rye, oats, wheat, stuff like that, and then or corn, and then beans and stuff, if you have enough time or enough acreage, and then transferring those deer out into a large destination food source, kind of your main core, if you will, right? Putting them out there. But usually a lot of properties don't have the availability, or they don't think they have the availability to take this layered effect and really put it into production. Guys, this is a real powerful, I've had a few properties that we've done a lot of very similar to this, and they're very, very powerful properties around the country. As you can see here, guys, building a doe bedding area here to house these does so the bucks can cruise around. The video coming down the road here is about setting the stage for your property for a buck to be able to navigate around your property and have a reason for him to be there this time of the year when most folks want to climb into a big box blind or a tree stand on the edge of food plot and still hunt the same way that they did early season. The connection here, guys, is this. If you have a program like this that you implement into effect, if you take the idea of bedding, corridors, transition, tied into a point of impact, releasing your does out into food, into shot plots, have one on the north, have one on the south, so you can hunt, north and south winds, have some CRP, some switchgrass, some pockets in the center, releasing those deer out into your green food plot, then out into grains, and then out into ag, and then you can catch them coming back through here during the AM, and you can catch this movement going that way in the PM, guys. You can hunt that early season PM hunts, and you can transfer into it now into the pre-rut and the rut. But sadly, this is when I see most farms and most success rates go in the toilet, because if you are hunting field edges and food plots, that is set up for early season food patterns. Guys, from here on, it's not about food for the whitetail buck. It's will he eat? Yes, he will. If he's between does, or if a doe leads him to the field, right? Leads him to eat. It's not a mindset that it's not a strategy that you should be hunting now that you were hunting then. A lot of folks just want to carry the same strategy right straight through the entire season. And like I said, when it gets to the pre-rut and the rut, when your opportunity rate should be skyrocketing, it's not. It's falling. It's falling off. And that's the reason why. 2 separate times of the year, guys, 2 separate patterns. You're making a food plot program. You're setting up a successful huntable area instead of just this being green and timber and hoping and praying that the does come out of that area and move out. Because like we said, guys, most of the time that this timber isn't holding the does that you think it is. The closing is this, guys. Whoever has the does, wherever that browse is located in that area, is going to experience the rut. Why is that? Leads into the next video coming down the chain here, guys. That sets that up. Where those does are at are where the bucks are going to cruise. Like I said, it's not about food, guys, right now from here on out until the bucks go back to food patterns. It's a scent check. It's putting miles on their feet, but it's a proficiency. They want to check doe areas or habitat areas that are better habitat along the way. You have to place yourself into that if you want to experience the rut. Sadly, like I said, most folks don't get to experience that because they're sitting out on the edge of something that's not created like this, something that is just wide open field that they're hoping that the deer go out into. And why I'm touching on this, guys, is this, because going into the next couple of weeks, we start picking up some gun seasons here, and those strategies of sitting on those field edges are notorious. It happens all over the country. What I encourage you to do this year, if you are sitting on the edge of one of those with a gun and a bow, you should be looking over your shoulder, because most of those woodlots are behind everybody, and that woodlot should be a worry if it's behind you, because sadly, guys, all of your deer, all of your bucks are cruising that area, scent checking that area on a parallel pattern. Not that they won't, not that you won't be successful dragging a buck out into those fields once in a while, but it's not the way to be proficient. Put some thought into that, guys, so you can experience hunting the field edges if that's what you want to do. But so you can experience one of the greatest times to be in the timber, in the deer woods, you know, across the entire country. Thanks, guys.